Nick Kazapla for Cal Poly has really been huge in this game. Score could very easily be 3-0, and Jared down the other side, Clapperich just the same. He's made 1 or 2 saves, so these guys seem to be dialed in and seeing the ball well.
Well, I think it really helps that the pace has been going even both ways. Both keeps have seen a couple shots each and had to make a couple saves. Keeps their head in the game.
Ball, nice check. Ball's going UMD's way. We'll see what happens on the clear.
At this pace, a lot of these players are going to probably be seeing quicker shifts this early in the season. You know, they've got their legs under them, but they also haven't seen a lot of game time yet. So,
yeah, I mean, we got 7 minutes left in the quarter. 1-0 UMD, and we got, you know, these guys have been running up and down constantly. It's been great to see a nice style of play. Wonder how long they can keep this up.
Exactly. Very few mistakes. You can see Cal Poly starting to slow it down a little bit. Need a possession, give their defense a break.
See that midfielders again, they're trying to use those guys, bring them behind next, get a little invert go. Huge play by Cal Poly there, a nice drive. Finished it in a flag.
It wasn't that the slide was late, it was just that it came up high.
It looks like we got a defensive hold on the play. It was a little out of positioning. And that's, again, the new rules there. You know, you usually see defensemen, his hands probably be spread a little bit, coming down on them, keeping them at bay, but you can't do that. So these new rules are really affecting some of these defensive middies and how they're playing. And great play by Cal Poly to maybe exploit that and take the ball behind with their midfield and have a go at it and get an opportunity like they did.
And you also saw where that dodge came from the wing, and I think you're going to see, especially with the new stick rules, and as it pertains to defense, you're going to start to see guys dodge from the wing. They can get that extra step without the defender having the stick on the right hip.
Yeah, absolutely. The footwork is critical, and the communication. Not that it wasn't before, but some of those tools have been taken away from defensive players. It's a wide open.
It's going to go
Great
to UMD ball.
Absolutely good. Looked like Cal Poly's getting a good situation, odd man push, and UMD defense came up with that. They're going to have to watch that, not let that happen, but at that time they were able to cover that and get the ball back. Freshman Logan Lindbergh taking a clearing game on his own here. But as you can see there, you know, freshman not watching, thinking about the trail check, and unfortunately turning over the ball.
Well, you go back a year ago for that young man, and more than likely he would have run past everyone, and that check wouldn't have happened. But this is college ball now, and you can't let that stick hang.
Something to keep an eye on, though. He was very easy to clear that. Maybe, you know.
Oh, he's got wheels.
Yeah.
He'll learn.
Yeah, we'll see him later this game being a threat, I guarantee it.
He's got their
attention. That's a little high. I'm surprised we didn't see a flag on it. You know, especially with the rules and the emphasis on the high hits in the helmet.
And as you can hear from our feed, that none of the fans here in attendance tonight were in favor of that.
Cal Poly really starting to pick up their possession time and get the looks that they want. Again, you're going to see this midi invert again. It's Cal Poly leaning on those midfielders with the seniority and trying to take advantage of that. See how UMD might have adjusted to the previous situation. Got a nice save by Jared, about him out there a little bit.
It's good body D there on the crease as well. Once again, these rules really showcasing the athletes who can keep their feet under them. Bad place to turn the ball over.
Yeah, we might have a slash there. Gonna play on situation. There's a flag down. Let's see MUD doubles this. Try to take care of it and get a go at the net here.
That flag could have gone either way.
Absolutely. Makes you wonder if that high hit was in his head. I don't know.
Yeah.
Justin Vossen right now there's 2 men on him. There's some Balpin on the back side there. Here's the look through.
look.
Oh, nice shot. Good opportunity with the flag down, and see UMD's man up come out on the field and see what they have. Cal Poly's defense is a strong suit for them, especially the seniority at their defense. So this will definitely be a challenge for the Bulldogs, even though they're man up. That Cal Poly uni is not new to this situation.
1 minute man up situation here for the Bulldogs. In a circle right now.
Great
Great look.
speed dump.
Good patience on that shot.
Absolutely, he's in no rush, took a mark, hopped in. Nothing fancy, just put the ball where it needed to be. That's what you need from the seniors, the captain Stan Dratowski, to step in and do something like that. I'm sure Coach Sam Lippman and the rest of the coaches are happy to see him playing that way right now. That's what this young team needs, is those seniors and juniors to step up and really lead them.
Definitely. And some players will see that slide coming and sort of back off, and he stepped up, took the shot, took the slide, and in turn screened the goalie. And that's a lot of young players don't think that way, but players that had been playing for a couple of years at this level, at the Division 1, 2, or 3 levels as well, have that extra 1 or 2 seconds of patience.
Yeah, it's we got a missed ball here. This is the UMD ball going the other way, an unforced error by Cal Poly. Both teams are doing that a little bit in their clearing game, so whoever can clean it up first will be in a good, an advantageous situation to start settling in and get a few more possessions.
Not a bad idea to take that shot knowing you had backup. It would make sense for UMD to slow down the game a bit, give their D a break, tire out this Cal Poly defense.
Yeah, again, with the Cal Poly relying on that midfield offensive threat, make those middies play a little bit defense, take them behind and have a go at it.
Exactly, well, especially coming from a man down situation to going right back to playing D. It's not an ideal situation for any team.
Looks like UMD's taking their time, settling in. We got to see what they do here.
Feet up top. Shot and a good save. Good save.
Great save. Offside, but high and, just a little far there. Just, about 14 yards out. Not the ideal shot that I don't think that staff was looking for, but UMD played well. They gave them what they wanted, where they want to take a shot, and here we go.
We've got another
Get a
flag here
down with possession.
UMD's going to go man up.
See how this Cal Poly man down reacts to the last situation. They've seen the first phase of the UMD man up. See how they react.
It looks like Zappala, the goaltender for Cal Poly, is kind of calming his troops down here, taking on the leadership role, making some big saves, calming his defense down.
Yeah, he's been there before.
Yes.
There's no stress there. He understands it's a full game. He's got to settle him down and get him focused and go.
Seeing him from field level like this, he's a big kid. He takes up a lot of that cage.
Good defense by Cal Poly. They get the ball down, and
10 seconds, coach.
We got 10 seconds left here till they're free, and we got
not the feed you're looking for
no.
in a man-up situation. UMD could have put a little bit of space between them and Cal Poly going towards the end of this first quarter.
Absolutely, but again, you got some playmaking. You're going to have to live by that. You get with freshmen down there in some of those important roles. They're going to have to learn through those, and I guarantee as long as he corrects that mistake, they'll be better for it down the road in this game.
Well, and they got the fans on their side. They're at home, 2.5 hours away from campus, but in their home state, home crowd, and nobody's going to get on you for mistakes, especially these young guys.
Yeah.
A nice roll and a shot there.
Nice shot, gave him a little bit of top side, got, his defensive mid got buried a little bit.
Erdyakov on the goal for Cal Poly.
Yeah. The situation, we were a man up, the turnover. They had unfortunately, a attackman down there covering a midfielder, which is not an ideal situation, and then Cal Poly took advantage of that and put one in the back of the net.
He's only 5'10", but he was able to roll and put some space between him and the defender, free up his hands, and he low side left on the goalie. Not much he could do.
So we got about 24 seconds left. Cal Poly's an event opportunity. Oh.
A little too quick on the turn there, Cal Poly.
Nice look at the cage with the end of the quarter coming up. Unfortunately, we weren't able to connect on that pass. UMD now with the turn. We're going to see a couple unforced errors. Actually, both teams were playing a little cleaner early. It might get a little tight here.
Well, I also think that their legs are catching up to them a little bit. They come out so fast.
That's a quarter and a 2-2 ball game here. Where, both teams need to take a break and take a breather and settle in and
take a nice big breath.
The pace is great. I'm enjoying it, but
yeah,
as a coach, you might be pulling your hair out a little bit when it settles down and get the looks you want. And Cal Poly seem to be trending that way pretty well. Like to see UMD settle that down a little bit. They came out a little cleaner and some unforced turnovers. They can get rid of that. They're going to see a lot of possession as well. So we're going to be here for a while on a close one, I think.
Well, and at 2-2, I think UMD definitely could have capitalized on a couple of their opportunities earlier. Cal Poly, frankly, is, I think, lucky to be at this 2-2 score.
Absolutely. We're going to jump over now. We got a guest with us with Epic Lacrosse, Minnesota's own Ryan Hurley here. Looks like we got a flag down, Ryan, for an illegal stick. So I didn't want to interrupt, but that could have a big impact. So Ryan, welcome. Real quick, couple seconds here. What do you think of the action so far?
Oh, I think it's been unbelievable. I mean, you just see how athletic these kids are up and down the field. I mean, the transition plays all over. It's been a lot of fun.
Absolutely. So what we have here, tell us a little about Epic Lacrosse. What are you guys doing? You guys are up some big stuff.
Yeah, we've been growing like crazy over the last 2.5 years. Starting on the West Coast, we have a big following over there, and growing through the Midwest and Northeast, we've really done some different things as far as shaft performance and technology. Our main line is the Dragonfly series, which is our carbon fiber line, and we've just proven over the last 2 years that carbon fiber shafts are a superior choice of materials and taking durability to the next level. So it's been a lot of fun, but just to be out here is even cooler.
Yeah, we got a few of those out there on the field today, I think.
Yeah,
I see.
I spotted them out there.
Yeah, so, being a local high school player and as we start play here, UMD's man up, why don't you join me and let's take a look at this and see, UMD seems to be taking care of the ball. What are your views on this?
So far, I've really liked the way the midfield has played for Duluth. I mean, they seem to be controlling the ball, set up the play. You see a nice save there from the Cal Poly goaltender. But the midfield has done a great job, I think, for Duluth, and as far as Cal Poly, back and forth up the field. Between the midfield line is where it's been really happening tonight.
Absolutely, and Cal Poly's goal has been huge tonight, I think.
Yeah.
At any level. Big kid, take it to net, but he's quick, he's got good feet, good hands, and he's taking care of it. So
he seems to have great instincts, and he really seems to back the guys up back there and really sets the tone for that whole defense.
We got a flag down on UMD. We'll see what that comes, see what Cal Poly does with the ball. While we have, as a graduate of Holy Angels Academy here, and then gone on to play at Cornell, and play some outdoor and indoor professional ball. You know, you've been here for the growth through the state and played left, come back and played some professional. What's exciting for you to see, you know, a team, Cal Poly, coming in, and this is not their first visit here, but see this level of play and the commitment from nationally ranked programs to come here and play. You know, what's that like?
I mean, this has been such a special event so far. I mean, you just look across the sideline and to see, you know, a couple hundred people. I'm not even sure how many there are. It's just, it's great to see in the state of Minnesota. You see local high school players coming out to watch their state team in the MCLA. Great competition, and up and down. What I'm taking so far is how athletic these kids are. It's really been cool to see Minnesota Duluth, where that program's come and what they've done. That big game last year in double overtime, and now out here today, they really seem to be setting the tone and putting on a show for the home crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Ryan, thanks for joining us again. Keep looking for that those high quality products Epic's putting out there, and some new stuff going to be hitting the stores here at some point, so we're looking forward to it. We got a goal, UMD just stuck it in there. So again, we're going to be here for a while, Ryan. Maybe we can have you back in the second half and check in and see how you think things are going.
Well, thanks so much for having me. Epic Lacrosse is really happy to be a part of this Lax.TV broadcast, and hopefully we'll see a bunch more games throughout the season, and look forward to this one being a thriller throughout the rest of the game.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Ryan.
again.
Thank you to Epic Lacrosse for filling us in there and everything they're doing for lacrosse in the community and putting out a great product and, you know, representing MCLA, NCAA, just making sure that, you know, kids have an option to have some high quality product in their hands to play the game that they love. Here we go, Cal Poly on that face-off picking it up and focus back on the play here. UMD coming up the ball in a loose ball situation.
Tough pass to handle there.
Yeah, that's my nice pickup by freshman Frankie Nusser coming up making a play at the goal line. Really surprised some of these high hits with the new emphasis on the rules.
Well, part of it is also these players taking on the hits as they drop their shoulders. I mean, you know, a lot of these hits are high, especially when you get hair like Nestor that moves every time you get hit.
Absolutely, you know, and it's going both ways. I'm just surprised that, you know.
Well, they are being lean. They're letting these boys play.
And that's okay. It's good to see.
Sure. Left wide open.
Looking for that far top corner.
These UMD shooters they've got plenty of room to shoot here. Cal Poly D is pulled in pretty tight.
Yeah, we got a little
Throwing the
one
ball
hopper
away there.
Boston wasn't able to handle, unfortunately. Didn't get a great look at it. Now we got a turnover going Cal Poly's way. See if they can take advantage of it here.
Try and box him in here.
Absolutely. Ball down.
Tries
Nestor
to take
picking it up
1
again.
on
That was
2.
a great situation. They covered it. They played it well. It's, you know, as a coach, it's a situation you drill, and you only get a couple of those, and you
Correct.
got to let the kids play and hope they picked up on it sometimes.
They just got free range to shoot here. Are
Yeah,
you
it's-
noticing that, Frank?
Yeah, I
They've
mean,
got
Cal
2 or
Poly
3
seem to be
yards
playing a
to
little
throw, hop, and shot.
Absolutely, a little playing a little tight. I'm surprised they're not as aggressive and getting on the shooter's hands. It just they're slow to fire out and get there.
Well, Erdikoff is he's seen the ball well, but 1-on-0 with a goalie anytime from 10 yards out, that favors the shooter.
Absolutely. I mean, you got Sebastian Zorn, and you have some leadership in him as a junior, and you got Rory Weinel, who's a senior defenseman playing for them, and you got the young guy sophomore, but he's still got experience, and Nico Tornahi. I probably murdered that name, which I apologize. But the real, if I'm in that huddle right now and I'm the Cal Poly goaltender, I'm pulling them in and saying, fellas, you got to help me out here.
Well, you also speak to, you're speaking to their age and their experience level, but does it also have something to do with the style of defense they're playing? No matter what their experience level is, if you're not playing the right type of defense, you're going to allow these shots from 10, 15 yards.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. We had a limited time to get with Cal Poly and asking what their approaches were. Obviously, they're not willing to share everything, but
True.
part of it is, I'm sure that they love their goaltender and they're trying to get him to see shots and force those bad shots, but I think they're giving up a little too much.
I agree, and I also think that a lot of these are coming on, unsettled situations. So these aren't all coming at 6-on-6 in the box shots. A lot of these are unsettled.
Absolutely.
Having the ball around here.
As you could probably hear, we got about 15 seconds left in the penalty.
And now you're starting to see a little bit more pressure here on the Cal Poly. Exactly what we talked about. They're pushing out, sliding a little bit early. I think they noticed exactly what we noticed.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit more difficult to get that shot off that they were seeing 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I think Mark made that adjustment, and it's showing and stifled some UMD opportunities there.
Yep. And now they're doing a good job switching, communicating. Now it's going to be interesting to see if they, wanting to shoot, you can't just take a shot because it's there. You want to take the shot.
Yeah, and that's. I think UMD's falling a little bit into what Poly wants to see. Give up that shot that they feel the goaltender can handle pretty easily, and
well, we'll see how
so
they
far
counter.
it's not. Yeah, so far it's not necessarily not working. It's just
No.
it's getting a little close for would be my taste, but they have, as you indicated, they definitely adjusted, as everybody can see, and they're starting to push out.
That's a good push in the
That's
back.
a push in the back, and we got a goal. I'm trying to see.
There's a lot of MCLA teams throughout the country, and in the Midwest we get the chance to see, some good ball. But I got to say that University of Minnesota Duluth travels. They're one of the best traveling teams I've seen in a long time. Their fans will drive hundreds of miles to see this team play, and they're always the loudest. They support their team, and it's great to see.
I got to say, I definitely appreciate over 10 years and still do.
It's a culture. I mean, it's a
you're
wonderful thing to have here in the state of Minnesota. Relatively new for the sport of lacrosse, and it's good to have a program like that to establish the game at the collegiate level.
Yeah, that's speaking from experience, being a road warrior team, if you will, whether it's traveling across the country, but even in state, UMD only plays 1 or 2 games at the school in the home field. So
yeah.
To have that support is huge. To really turn those travel games into home games and see people, and have that support, as you're saying, it is great.
Well, and there's a lot of support at Duluth. I coached formerly at the University of Minnesota, and traveling to Duluth in April or late March can be difficult.
So play here, decent possession by Cal Poly. Weren't really to get that scoring or the shot opportunity they were looking for, and see if UMD can handle this clear.
It's a nice clear by Duluth.
See Kevin Soderholm, senior captain.
Another flag
take the
coming down
initiative,
here
get the
Cal
ball.
Poly.
Yeah, flag down on Poly here again. It presents a little frustration there.
You can hear the fans getting on the player a little bit.
Yeah,
it's a tough play to call. A player go down for Cal Poly. He runs over, trips over him, and it happens.
Yeah, another man-up opportunity here, which is, at 4-2. This is a critical situation. So.
Putting 3 goals between yourself and a team like Cal Poly can really, build your confidence going into halftime.
Absolutely. Boston's been going high to high for a while. I finally like to see him switch it up and.
Yeah, it is. It's nice to
take it a little low.
Trying to use that defender as a screen as well.
Yes.
10.
Not the shot I don't think they were looking for there.
Yeah, and he's going to see that.
Yeah, no screen, solid and clear.
Cal Poly intent to settle the ball down in here after a couple minutes of man-down situations, turnovers. We're going to 2-2-2 set. looking for his dodging matchup right here. Aggressive defense there by Duluth. I think Cal Poly's found their shooter.
Yeah, definitely, you know, as we said, working that midfield, that's where that strength is. They're going to lean on that.
That's 2 for Erjikov.
It's a little roll into a shot, a quick release, but it'd be good to see, you know, that's a save that you might want to have. You know, I'm sure Coach Lippman is thinking he should be able to give up that. And
Well,
middle,
Sam
to the middle
Lippman
of
of
the
everybody.
field.
He's a former goaltender for the Bulldogs.
Cal Poly here with another nice ground ball settled in. And
you know, once again here with Cal Poly having possession right after you know, making it 4-3. It's pretty important that goaltender here for Duluth has a short-term memory. Can't let that last goal dwell on.
yeah, UMD defenses seem to get a little more quiet here too. You'd like to see that communication pick up, but nice save by Jarrett there. Hopefully that helps him get a little
That will
confidence
definitely help
back.
him. That's a good save for in that
Yeah.
situation.
It's another forced clear and a bad turnover there, unfortunately. Probably with a good take. Nice shot with backup.
Looking to
Good to see.
isolate up top.
Yeah, have it go up with the midfield again. Be interesting. I think that's a pretty clear, you know, strategy there by Mark and Cal Poly, and you know, interesting how UMD at halftime has an opportunity to talk that through and see what kind of adjustments they might come out with it.
Yeah, they're going to have to react. It looks like they've made note, and they're trying to single and isolate out specific players.
So UMD took a little more time there, got it clear, and
Ball almost thrown away there.
yeah.
UMD's now dropped into a 2-2 set. It's almost like they're mirroring each other.
Yeah, a little motion offense with some shallow cuts going on, trying to get that quick clear through and try to get that alley.
Yeah, they're definitely a good job of moving off ball.
Yeah, it's a lot of. It seems to be a pretty unselfish style of play going right now, which is what you want to see. A lot of off-ball movement, trying to set each other up. You know, talking to Coach Lippman before the game, he feels that that's been their strength, especially young guys. They just want to see the ball in the back of net, and you hear that a lot, but
Sure.
I think we're seeing some of that.
Well, Duluth is notorious for having a lot of their goals be assisted. Oh, yeah, the backside look there, wide
it's just
open.
Passes in the box, that's a goal.
Yeah.
Hopefully they recognize that and they try to get that look again and see that from their perspective. Zeroing on that,
The defense collapsed pretty quickly, so it's easy to get walleye vision, I like to call it.
And I think, Poly, historically, at least when we played them, is that, they've always done a good job of having those cutters and finding an inside guy, constantly trying to prepare for them and make sure we were ready for that. So, just the same, the defense is used to seeing that a lot over the years, and they're prepared for that. They know, they're very accustomed to collapsing on that look and making sure that they don't give it up. Oh, right on the doorstep, great look. Unfortunately, they weren't able to connect on that.
Another play here, watch, is number 7 and just on the crease here, Erdikov. He already has 2 here, about 3/4 of the way through the second quarter. And I would look to him to get the ball once we get this settled here.
Cal Poly's not being bashful at all about where they want to attack from and set that up.
Now they push the alley really well, and they find that quick open pop on
Great
the crease.
save. Staying Cal Poly with a push. Absolutely, driving that alley, trying to force that slide to come in and have that quick pop. Really forcing UMD to make sure they got the first and second timed out and closing in right. Nice look to the backside.
It's a great feed.
Caught the defender sleeping and ball watching a little bit. Not moving off that slide and filling that back hole.
One other thing is that Erdikov, number 7, came down and actually mirrored what the ball carrier was doing. It made the defense, everybody turn around. And when you do that, it's easy to cut to the back of their helmet. You find yourself wide open. A lot of players, especially at the youth level, make the mistake of when they try to cut and get open, they cut right in front of their defensive player. You always want to cut to the back of their helmet.
Got a infraction, 16 on the face-off for Cal Poly. Touching the plastic again, you know, those rules. So we got about 4 minutes to play here in a half. Yeah. Close one goal. Close one pushing through to this end of the half, so you can try to get momentum and get control going into that. And
2 very evenly matched teams right now. 4-4 the score, folks.
We got 3:17 left in the half. Indy taking her time. Nice move by freshman Lindbergh. Great pass, great feed shot by Frank Inessa, but again, followed up by a fantastic save.
That's good lacrosse all around. The important part of the game here as we approach 2 minutes left in the first half, tied 4-4.
Okay, UMD pushing a little bit on the clear, which we haven't seen it yet, throwing that in a little bit at the half. The attack, squeezing, the middies playing up. Cal Poly handled it pretty nicely there, though.
I would think that Cal Poly
First pass by Cal Poly.
with possession.
All right, so we got a flag down. Looks like that's going to be against Cal Poly.
I wouldn't have been surprised to
Offsides.
see them call a timeout there if that flag wouldn't have come out.
Right. Looked like Cal Poly is going to end up with some momentum there and be able to set something up, but unfortunately went off sides to clear that. And UMD's getting a lot of man-up looks.
They are.
Well, that compounds on you throughout the game. You get, you know, your defense is working hard. You always got to work harder, a man-down situation. You know, goalie's going to see more looks. See what kind of effect that might have throughout this game.
Unfortunately for the Bulldogs, it's keeping Zappala, the goaltender for Cal Poly, in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he has not had a chance to let his guard down at all, which is great because he's been making some great saves.
Seeing some patience here by UMD, and then forced pass. Fortunate enough to come up with again. 2 opportunities, you know, offsides, get possession back, and then lucky that wasn't going the other way.
Duluth look very aware of not to turn the ball over. Make sure they want to get the last shot of the half.
Putting the ball of some of their upperclassmen.
A good D here by Cal Poly. Collapsing very well.
Yep.
And just as we talked about, There's that turnover, and now Cal Poly has a chance to end the half on a high note here.
Unsettled situation, see if they can connect.
It's a close call there.
We got 110 Poly possession, 4-4 game coming down to the halftime. If you're just joining us, we got a really exciting back and forth game. Both teams settled in some high quality top 25 MCIL action, and both teams are competing and getting after it.
It's hard to hear you.
D extending a little bit there, balls on the ground. I'm sure they would love to get another shot at this, but Cal Poly at this point definitely going to look to hold on for that last opportunity. And good job by defense to come out and really affect that shot.
Cal Poly calling a timeout.
Mark Lee really stepping in, and timely timeout call there to keep
smart
possession.
play.
Absolutely. So we got 15 seconds left. I'd expect Cal Poly, Mark Lee to draw something up here. Wouldn't be surprised if it comes from the little generate from the midfield.
If I were a betting man, I would think that Erdikov might get the call on this one. 16 seconds left in the half, excuse me. Already putting 2 goals on the board. He's been their primary dodger so far. When he is dodging, he's looking to shoot, but he's drawing 2 defenders every time. He's getting that early slide, and he's always able to find somebody on the backside.
Yeah, I mean, his point total right now is close to resembling, the impact he's having on this game for Cal Poly and what he's doing.
Exactly.
He's a setup man, and a lot of times the finish man. Coming out of the Cal Poly timeout, 15 seconds left.
Let's take a look and see what set they're in here. Ball's going to start here from behind.
Nice adjustment right there to get the pole behind. Try to influence that. Nice take, had the pipe, just missed that.
10 seconds!
Just kidding.
5, 3, 7,
Clock ticks down here.
4,
Looking for this last shot.
2, 1.
Great defense there by Duluth, and that ends the first half of play. Minnesota Duluth 4, Cal Poly 4.
Hi, welcome to Bull Dodge, everyone's favorite lacrosse show. We're presented today by Mad Lax California. Check them out at their website at www.madlax.com/California. I'm Ryan Heidrich alongside Casimir Morawski. Lots of lacrosse issues to get to, and our mailbag's full, so let's get right into it. Our first mailbag comes from Jim in Idaho. He says, a lot of talk about Moe's Southwest Grill Classic on last week's show. I loved it, but what did you guys think of the event?
Well, the event was definitely a success as Jacksonville University played a great host. And there was a lot of good lacrosse action as well. I was really impressed with Penn State's performance. You know, They played very well against the Denver Pioneers with Shane Sturgis and Jack Forrester each recording four goals. The Penn State offense looked really good, and it should be interesting to see how Denver responds to that loss. They were kind of sluggish in that game, coming off traveling all week. So it should be interesting to see how they respond.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was a great win for Penn State and something that they could really build on. An early season win over a top 10 program such as Denver.
The divisional opponent as well is a great win for them. Denver was had the not the greatest hand going into the weekend. They had traveled back across the whole United States again for the second straight week, and they dealt with some pretty serious injuries during the game. Chase Carrera was out, which really affected their style of play, I believe. And the other game, Jacksonville lost to Ohio State, and you can really tell by that game that the talent level from the Denver-Penn State game really dropped off. But nonetheless, it was still a great game. I was really impressed with Jacksonville's athletic ability, and Ohio State had extremely good athletes as well. And they had just a little more lacrosse IQ, which is something that we talked about last week as what would be the difference. And it did, as the Ohio State Buckeyes won 9-6. As far as the event played out, I was impressed with the event. However, I was really disappointed in the city of Jacksonville, and the attendance that was there. It looked like there was absolutely no one in the stands for the Penn State-Denver game, which is disappointing for a city who's trying to grow the game. But as far as that, I thought it was a great event, and I look forward to next year's.
Yeah, our next mailbag question comes from Pete in California. He says, Stanford continued its winning ways this season. Just how good are the boys from Palo Alto?
Well, there's no question that Stanford's the hottest team in the nation right now. They started off the season with a big win over UCSB that surprised some people, and they did disappoint this weekend by absolutely crushing Oregon, who was coming off a win against Simon Fraser as well as Chapman. It was an impressive win for them, and they really started 3-0 start in the MCLA with 3 good wins is a great start.
Yeah, what has really impressed me about Stanford is their versatility on offense. They have so many weapons that they can drive from, and they can pretty much drive from anywhere on the field. I'm also really impressed with their play on the defensive end as well, with Josh Giglio in goal. His save percentage is well over 60%, which is great. So it should be interesting to see how they do in the WCLL this year.
Exactly. With the way that Jack Farr is playing, he had 8 goals and 2 assists against Oregon, which is just outrageous. The way he's playing with the addition of freshman midfielder Peter Doyle, I think that the offense is really great, and with the strong defense that we've been seeing from Giglio and his pals out back there in the back line, I think that they're built for a deep, long run. So our next mailbag question comes from Blake in California. He says, a lot of big NCAA games this past weekend. What games were you watching?
One game that really stood out to me was the UNC-UMass game. I didn't think that UMass stood a chance without Will Manny. But they ended up using a 4-goal run in the fourth quarter to win that game. So, I was wrong, and UMass really impressed me. And it should be interesting with the return of Will Manny to see how they do down the road.
Yeah, well, I was paying attention on Sunday to Albany as they defeated Syracuse in double overtime. For Syracuse, this isn't the best start for the season. They had a disappointing 2012 season, and to start 2013 with another loss, can't have the Big Orange too happy. But you have to look at Albany as a team that maybe can make a run at the postseason, make the national tournament. I think with the Thompson family out there just putting up monster numbers on the offensive end, I think that they're a team to look out for.
Yeah, and in some other key games last weekend, Loyola squeaked by Delaware 9-8, Lehigh beat Villanova 11-9, and Notre Dame beat Duke 13-5.
Yeah, and some other scores that caught our eye were Virginia, who barely got past Drexel in their season opener 13-12 in overtime. Maryland moved to 2-0 on the year with a 16-4 victory over Hartford, and the Terps have now scored 39 goals in their first 2 games. Talk about offense.
Yeah, and our next mailbag question comes from Travis in Arizona. He wants to know what our reaction to the new MCLA poll that came out this week was.
Well, I think the poll came out and the voters actually finally got it right for once, which is impressive to see. They're maybe getting in mid-season form as they keep their voting techniques going on. You know, Stanford moved up all the way to number 4, and I think that's justified. A lot of teams haven't really started playing yet, and if they have played, they've played some kind of floater games. So as the season gets on, it'll be interesting to see how the poll shapes up after teams actually start playing against each other.
Yeah, and in the top 10, Colorado State, Colorado, and as well as Michigan State still haven't played a game, and I think they all play this weekend, so it should be interesting to see where they move, as well as Stanford and Oregon, Oregon and Chapman dropping down to 8 and 9, respectively. I thought that was interesting, and I think that's justified from how they played last weekend.
Exactly. So for more poll discussion, check out our other show. It's our Power Ranking show. It drops every Thursday, so make sure you check that out. Moving on to our next mailbag question. It comes from Steve in Arizona. He says, to this early point of the MCLA season, what are your guys' surprises so far?
Well, my biggest surprise has been the success of the WCLL. You know, we all knew that it was a good conference, but this year it looks like it's turning into an elite conference. You know, with Stanford ranked number 4, you know, they've had some really good early season success, and you know, the conference overall is 12-4 so far in the early part of the season. So it should be interesting to see. That could be, you know, 3 teams might even make it to Greenville out of that league.
It's pretty exciting for the WCLL. I was most impressed with St. Thomas, the Tommies. I was really impressed. You know, they had a tough weekend last weekend playing 3 of the top teams in MCLA Division II, and they took care of business in all 3 games. And what's more impressive is they played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, playing back-to-back-to-back against that quality of opponent. Must be tough, but you know, the Tommies came out, took care of business against Concordia, then beat rival Westminster, and then finished off Cal State Fullerton on Sunday. And I think that a team this early in the season, they can win 3 consecutive tough games, only going to get stronger, and that's what it's going to take in Greenville, and they know that. And, you know, I think they're, once again, the team to beat in MCLA Division II this year.
Yeah, and our next mailbag question comes from Freddie in New York. He says, lots of great NCAA action this weekend. What games are you guys watching?
Well, I definitely think the game of the week is the game that features the in-state rivals for Maryland Loyola versus the University of Maryland. It will be a game that is going to be shown on Saturday on the NBC Sports Network, which I think did a great job last week with the Mo Southwest Grill Classic. You know, we talked a little bit earlier about the offense that Maryland's shown. It's just been outrageous what they've been able to do. You know, everyone's chipping in goals. It's really hard to figure out who's going to be the main point guy when everyone's just throwing in 4 or 5 goals a game. And then on Lola's side, I think, you know, Josh Hawkins was suspended last weekend for a team violation. You know, they don't know if he's going to play again this weekend, so that's definitely something to look out for since he's such a strong defensive midi. And, you know, Lola's really going to have to turn their offense up if they want to keep up with the Maryland pace. But I think they have the talent. I just don't know if they have the strong enough defense to hang with them for the whole game.
Yeah, you know, that game's going to be a great game. Rematch of the national championship last year. I'm looking forward to it as well. But I'm also looking forward to watching the Notre Dame and Penn State game. You know, both teams have found some early season success this year. You know, Penn State just came off that big win against Denver. So it should be, you know, the Fighting Irish are also coming off a huge win against Duke. You know, they kind of blew them out of the water, 13-5. And I see the Irish midfielder riding Jim Marley, who had 5 goals against Duke, and winning this one.
Exactly. So thanks for watching. It's been another great episode of Bull Dodge. I'm Ryan Heydrich.
I'm Casimir Moravsky.
We'll see you next week.
Welcome back to action. Hope you enjoyed the Bulldog episode, during a half. About to face off. A lot of emotion from both teams at the halftime. Both energized. Obviously, we're in a tie ball game, so we're really expecting a lot of what we've seen. You know, we'll see if the defense from Cal Poly continues to extend and keep having that solid goaltending play. And UMD's really been able to possess the ball and get some shots. See if they can capitalize on some of those and see who can actually grab some momentum here and run with it. Here we are on the face-off. clean face-off by Cal Poly with possession is a nice way for them to start the half. UMD coming out and pushing a little bit, playing far out, a little aggressive defense for sure. Cal Poly trying to dictate the tempo maybe a little bit here.
They definitely came out of their huddle a little more enthused than they started the game with.
Ball down.
It's going up Cal Poly way.
Nice play by the defense. A quick check on Ryan Butts to get that ball out. Mistake and get it back to Cal Poly.
I think at this point in the game where it's safe to say that, you know, whichever team makes the least amount of mistakes at this point is going to come out ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's still the first 5 minutes were probably the cleanest ball we saw. Out of these two teams. They were just playing. Starting to think a little bit, see who can get back into that rhythm and get going. Good quality ball, what we're seeing, but, you know, for balls on the ground a little bit for these two teams.
Yeah, and you know, as redundant as that comment may sound, that a lot of the teams that make the most amount of mistakes don't usually come out on the ahead of the game, but you know, each of these teams are mirroring one another. You know, same amount of turnovers, a tie score, so it's really going to come down to whoever plays the cleaner type of ball.
Absolutely, yeah. You know, UMD's basically, they've had the lead the whole time, and Cal Poly's been have to come back. What kind of emotional effect has that had? You know, that adds a little bit to build. But at the end of the day, really, we're waiting to see who's going to grab a hold of this and start making those smart plays and not turn it over, unforced turnovers, hurried looks, etc.
Sure.
UMD feels they have a very nice matchup here at midfield. They're trying to get the ISO. Freshman Limber, oh, nice shot, just missed the pipe on there. You know, as we mentioned, we'll probably see him a little there. You know, we see they're going to really try to get Limburg on that matchup and see how Cal Poly reacts to that and if they adjust.
We'll also see what impact the change in net has on the game with Blazer stepping into the cage for the second half.
Yeah, see if Cal Poly realizes they just went from a lefty to a righty.
I'm sure that's been astutely pointed out by the coaching staff.
You would think, especially Cal Poly and last season, you know, we're in that situation. They split with goalies, and some people don't think there's necessarily advantage to that.
Are you a proponent of that?
You know, it depends. I mean, it really depends. You know, it depends on the relationship with the goalies. I think as a coach, you have to have a good pulse of that. Being a little closer to the UMD situation and knowing those guys, it's a unique relationship, and they feed off of that. So in that case, yeah, I've been on the other end of that too, where you have two goalies, and that's doesn't really work out, and you have to decide which way to go.
No, it's all about chemistry. Yeah, the goalies have to understand their role. They have to be okay with only playing a half, and then you have to figure what type of goalie, what type of personality is better to have at the end of the game, and what type of goalie is better to finish or start the game. I'm sorry.
Yep.
All those factors play into it.
Got Cal Poly getting a flag here, which is
slash on the Bulldogs.
Cal Poly be man up. Haven't seen a lot of that tonight, so
Cal Poly's going to be 2 men up. This backside shooter is going to find himself with a little bit extra time here. A great save by Blazer.
Great job, but it's definitely not the shot that Cal Poly wants to see.
No, it's not. And the saves like that can actually be game-changing saves. Being 2 men down, start of the second half, you come out and make a save like that, and if you clear successfully, which they are not going to right now, in any case, that was a great save. And
yeah, and you got a new keeper coming in. He gets his first shot, makes a save, and
another great save by Blazer.
He's in it.
He is in it. So we can see that
So
he might be the best goalie to finish the game here. Looks like they've got that ironed out.
So to answer your question, yes, I'm a big fan of switching goalies at
Yeah.
half.
And I've become it.
That's a huge stop for the Bulldogs to get a release. They get a. That's 2 big saves. They're coming back. Let's see if they can keep their poise a little bit and make something happen on the other side. The 2-man advantage, the backside was really open. I'm surprised Poly didn't find that. Blaze are looking a little in that,
We
looking
get
a
a
little
Ward
shaky.
there.
Yeah, we got a Ward.
You know, it's tough to be a long pole trying to clear the ball like that. Not many poles get asked to clear the ball solo.
No. And you got Kyle Mort down there who, that's his forte coming out of high school and what he did for the Bulldogs. And then it's good to see him back on the field after taking a year off and rehabbing that knee. And, I think he's starting to get back into his game a little bit. That's a lot to ask. Blaze are really looking to take control of that defense in the crease. Definitely a different little bit of style than we saw from Jared out there, but both worked and seems to be working well.
And Blazer was a great goalie throughout his high school career at Champlain Park. Really made a name for himself. Champlain Park was a new program, and he really put him on the map.
Sally Dodge, but they're, I don't know if that's an adjustment or the individual play, but really starting to get that push out and shading a defensively a lot better there to force that alley dodge out and force that angle and give their goalie a better opportunity.
Go, 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 Louise! Louise!
Bulldogs are going to have to clean their passing up a bit here. A little nervous.
Absolutely. I don't know about that pass either. It was just,
Well, I think they haven't had the ball on offense here going on 3 minutes here. So they got to give their defense a break here. They can't afford another turnover.
yeah, and as a coach, you want to say, enjoy the ball at this point a little bit and make them play a little defense. But again, you have these new rules in place, so
Sure.
what's that balance?
That's
Wow.
a gimme goal.
No, that's just a nice handle there by Mr. Lacrosse himself in the state of Minnesota last year. Hepner out of Eastview High School. Good look feed, good play by Cal Poly. Ball came in a little low, and Hepner's got some nice hands. Took a little stutter step to it, caught it, and really the quick release is what beat the goaltender on that.
Well, it's funny when you say, Mr. Lacrosse, Minnesota. Players like that just find themselves in the right spot, and every level, the Division I level, all the way up the ranks. Good players find themselves in the right spot for garbage goals, good goals, any goals.
Got a UMD possession here again coming down. Cal Poly, bunch of looks at the net. Blazer comes up huge, some defense, a couple fortunate bounces. Hepner puts that one in the back of the net. This possession is very important for the Bulldogs to see what they can do. And inversely, for Cal Poly, they need to get the ball back and start getting that momentum.
Well, as I noticed what the Bulldogs are doing right now, they're really spreading the field, making these slides a lot longer. So we should see, the defense of Cal Poly tire out a little bit, make it a little bit easier to substitute too here on the fly for the Bulldogs.
It's nice move, and if you look at good look there, just kind of lost the ball in the traffic.
Made it way
Up
through
a goal
4
with the
sticks.
possession. Sure, the coaching staff didn't want to see that higher risk pass happen, but here comes Cal Poly. See what they do.
They're definitely letting these guys play, and I'd love to see that, especially this early in the season. Good hustle on both sides there.
Yeah, these kids are battling it out. I'm sure Mark didn't want to see his long pole trying to take that down to the middle of the net. I'd rather see that bounce out to the side and
Sure.
keep possession.
Fans showing their appreciation.
We call it that.
pressure defense there, Bulldogs.
Absolutely. You can see Cal Poly. See if, go back to what was working for them in that first half. Get that midfield attack. Try to hit that backside.
Close to a Ward there. It was a good check, but that ball was coming out prior to it either way.
You get a nice clear, good handle. Bulldogs pushing up in an odd man situation.
He's got to give that ball up sooner.
He does. But smart play, I would say. They kept possession, nothing
Sure.
forced.
From a possession standpoint, it was a smart play. But you got numbers there. I think you've got to move that ball a little bit quicker.
And Poly did a good job reacting to that, and I think Bulldogs, quite frankly, at attack, some, that's that young age on there. They weren't set up anticipating today.
Sure.
Game's still a little fast for them.
Sure. In any case, they still have possession, and that's what counts.
I'm impressed for Lindbergh and his speed. He not a huge guy, obviously, but strong kid, good explosion. He's getting his separation.
Yeah.
See with that shot placement selection get a little better. Might be able to find the back of the net a little bit more.
Well, he's got great change of direction.
Wow, they're not.
Ball going over Erdikoff's head. Once again, Bulldog is extending the play, really spreading out the Cal Poly defense here.
It's interesting. UMD offense looks to be not as moving as much. I think they'd like to see, you can hear from the sideline, they'd like to see them get going and get rotating. That's the benefit. Keeping the defense on their heels and really delaying that slide.
Well, you hear a lot of coaches say, ball moves faster than any feet, and that is the case. Wide open.
There's a great change of plane shot from low to high. Saw the backside.
It almost seems like they're lulling him to sleep. They're moving the ball far and wide, extending the defense, and then they're putting goals in from 10 yards out.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if I don't see a timeout from Cal Poly here soon. They're not there yet, but some decent momentum going.
It's interesting whenever you see players start to wander over and look at the scoreboard. It's in the back of their mind. They're curious. They're a bit worried. Once you start losing a team that you have never lost to, no matter what point in the game it is, it's always in the back of your mind. This isn't their home turf, so.
And again, get the opportunity, get the illegal face-off, and then they turn it over. It's who can settle down and control the ball.
Make the least amount of mistakes.
Again, you appreciate it, but the game does come down to doing the simple things right.
And I can't say when you get these, rivalries, California versus Minnesota, one thing that I've heard from coaches back east, even out west, that Minnesota teams do play a more physical style of ball, at least the better teams. And we have other sports like hockey and football, and some of the kids we have are just used to that physicality. Not to say that other teams like Cal Poly can't play a physical style, but when you start seeing ground balls and late in the game like this,
looks like unsportsmanlike, getting a little chippy in the middle there.
Referee Chris Larson calling it unsportsmanlike conduct here.
White, 3-7. That's green, 7. Unsportsmanlike conduct. That's 1 minute. That's full time.
So Kyle Hansen of the Duluth Bulldogs has been called for a 1-minute misconduct penalty, along with number 7, Erdikoff for Cal Poly.
And we got a flag down on UMD. We're going to see a Cal Poly man-up situation.
I wonder if they heard us talking about physicality. It's starting to get a little rough.
Yeah, it is getting a little chippy. And I think being close to the benches here, Mark Lee's definitely pushing that for Cal Poly. He wants to see his team get in there and fight for it. And they're responding to what he's asking.
And we'll see how they respond here on the man up. Cal Poly has plenty of time. Another great save by Blazer.
Wow.
He has his head in the game.
So back to that goalie.
Yeah.
It's.
But it always makes you wonder, if he had started the game. You get a goalie that's hot. Not to take away anything from any other goalies for University of Minnesota Duluth, but when you get a hot goalie like this, switching goalies, it has its detractors.
500 sportsmanlike. 2, 1, release.
UMD penalties release. A lot of times you see these goals in a situation where we're still trying to settle up. Looks like Cal Poly's going to be content with taking from behind and having to go in this settled situation. Nice look. Off the top crossbar. That's the look they're looking for. Draw that slide and hit it back up.
Good job of killing the initial penalty here by Duluth. Cal Poly just content to possess the ball, get the shots that they've been getting looks for. So it's been a good game so far. Teams match up very easily.
Nice bounce shot from Cal Poly. Good ball placement.
It was, you can only let so many shots from 7 yards. You can only take so many without letting one in.
I mean, that comes back. You got great saves are fantastic, but if you can't get the ball out of your zone, like you said, you can only take so many shots.
Let's go, Polly.
So we got 6-5 game here. UMD up on a goal. Cal Poly just capitalized on a nice bounce shot. You face off UMD possession.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but a majority of Cal Poly's goals have come today 6-on-6.
Yeah.
Whereas Duluth was capitalized on a couple of their man-up situations. Looks like Duluth is still looking to extend the them play.
Yeah, they're doing a good job of driving at alley and getting it to the backside of the field where the defense, away from where the defensive collapse. I'm impressed with that. Still looking for a few forced shots, but it looks like Coach Lipp was calling for a timeout, but he didn't get it.
And I think he's happy he didn't get it. No, he still called for it. And now we wish he had it. Duluth still, every time they press the cage, they're looking for that skip pass. And they found it a couple times.
UMD still really pushing on that defense and making that pass tough, which is nice to see. But Cal Poly seemed to adjust to it.
It doesn't seem like they're really adjusting to the heat as well as I thought they would. With UMD pushing out like that, they're creating more turnovers. And
we got 1 minute left. UMD with the ball.
Overall, a good quarter of ball so far. Some good chances, some good goals. A little more physical than the first 2 quarters.
Again, that high-to-high shot, he's eating those up. Nice look at opportunity. Got it. They got the ball right in the shooter's hands free in the middle right in front of the crease about 7 yards out,
But even on and off hip, I mean, anything from the thigh up, he's just owning.
yeah.
The D once again pressing out for the Bulldogs.
We're under 15 seconds here in the quarter.
I'm not quite sure if Cal Poly can hear the countdown from where they are.
That's the quarter. What a, we came in this 4-4. We're at 6-5.
Yeah.
A couple opportunities. I'd say some of the highlights. UMD again. The goal play of the third quarter so far has been. First the big question coming out was switching goalies. Do you do that? Is that advantageous to what you're trying to do as a defense? It's goalie comes out and plays like that. Coach Lookman's pretty smart right now.
But I would also think that the Cal Poly team all noticed that they had goalie change. I know every time we were on the field as attackmen, you and I were both attackmen, the first thing you noticed was this change of goalie. And it's important to test them early. And Blazer stepped up to the challenge and, played a huge role in the outcome of the score so far.
Yeah, Cal Poly got some really good, right on the doorstep, some good looks. And then Blazer took control of that defense and, they readjusted and the pressures seem to have, really caused a wrinkle in the Cal Poly offense. Poly's really trying to push those midfielders, and you've seen a little adjustment by UMD. It'll be interesting to see how Cal Poly comes out in this fourth quarter, and do they switch it up? Do they lean in on that senior leadership and really focus every possession on the midfield? How many more shots can Poly see? We don't have the stats in front of us, but he's seen a lot of ball today.
And he's made a lot of saves. And on both ends of the field, UMD pressing out on the defensive side of the field, making it really difficult for Cal Poly to clear the ball. And on the offensive side, they're spreading out the Cal Poly defense, making those slides extra long, and sort of lulling them to sleep inside. That's where they seem to have the most success.
Yeah, I think Cal Poly's 6-on-6 offense has been phenomenal. If they can get those looks, if they can clear the ball and settle down and not have forced turnover, they're going to be in a good spot in this fourth quarter.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. I think the clearing has been the biggest linchpin for both teams. We've seen the most amount of turnovers. Ball's going to come up UMD. We're going to start the fourth quarter with UMD with possession.
We got a 6-5 game. We got some younger players on both sides of the field. We'll see how this fourth quarter squeezes a little bit.
Yeah. So far, it's been a great game. Good game to watch, good game to call. It looks like it'd be a fun game to play in.
Yeah, they're both enjoying it, I think.
Yeah.
Nice shot off right at the bat. Good possession.
Fourth quarter round now, we talked about this earlier, but now it's going to come down to the athletes.
Oh, nice bounce shot by Sandrikowski. Look, they're trying to work that two-man game with Lindbergh up top a little bit, trying to get him slide through, but, you might even argue that Cal Poly ran through the pick and should have flagged, but, Stan, senior, saw the opportunity, took the corner and buried it.
Yeah, he turns that corner. It's not necessarily an alley. It's more of a roundabout. He's coming around that corner and turned his hips. It's the second time he's put the ball past the goalie like that.
Yeah, two nice shots. One right off the pipe and the other nice bounce shot. Yeah.
But that goal makes it a 7-5 ball game. Duluth with a 2-goal lead.
Cal Poly possession. Oh.
And right off the face-off,
almost
Cal
got
Poly's going to turn it over.
Nice effort.
So definitely you're going to hear the momentum in the favor of the Bulldogs. Cal Poly looks like they're not afraid to throw their bodies around.
No, and they know we're in the fourth quarter and it's a two-goal game. So you're definitely seeing that intensity level pick up from both sidelines. But I think Cal Poly is really starting to push on this and get a little more physical, which they need to do, and it may pay off for them.
This game is going to go down to the last minute. Just two good athletes on the Cal Poly team to let a 2-goal lead discourage them.
You know, again, we're seeing that midfield initiation. Nice check, able to divert the pass and coming up UMD ball. But, you know, it was there. Without that check, Cal Poly's definitely working that alley from the midfield, and they're looking to swing that or generate a shot from it.
Yeah, I think so far you got to hand it to the Bulldogs defense.
Here we go, Lindbergh in the middle.
It's a shifty kid.
Yeah. He's a
He's
freshman,
a great guy to have in the. He's a great guy to have in the clearing game.
Absolutely. You know, but to be a freshman, have that speed. You know, you usually see him contributing in a specialty spot like that. But to see him be able, I mean, he's on the first line here with, you know, two veteran players for UMD and the count guys. So there's a lot of confidence there and faith. And he's really balancing that line out pretty well.
Well, and he also gets to learn from the other two, and he's a skilled guy that'll go get every ground ball for you, and I guarantee he'll beat almost everybody to the ball. Where I see him needing to learn a little bit is just his off-ball play.
It's a really nice look there. Unfortunately, a bobble pass by Hepner, but he comes up with a ground ball, one-handed pick up on the sideline. Now he's pushing, and you know, I love to see about him. His head's up, he's looking, he's seen the movement. You know, it's great to see. UMD's looking a little scrambled here right now. It'd be nice to see them get back in into their offense.
You know, it is part of the game. You know, fourth quarter. And
we're on a doorstep there. I think Cal Poly got lucky on that one. Just he pulled it a little bit, as they say.
You know, the bottom line is Duluth has kept possession, and that equals time off the clock.
UMD's really looking to play that you know, the two-man. They're just doing some shallow cuts up top with the midfield and trying to generate slides from that.
I call it a teeter-totter. You push low, guy pops up high. I teach that to my high school kids, but usually when you watch these games, you can see it done the right way. Aggressive drive to the cage. Cal Poly gets within one.
Away, although, you know, definitely took a little shot on the end of that. Hopefully he's okay. And
they popped right back up. You know, unfortunately, that slide has to come earlier.
The shoulder doesn't look good. It looks like it's hanging on. Hopefully he bounced back and we get to see him back again. That was a great drive to the cage, aggressive. You know, knew he was going to take a shot, got it off, and put the ball in the back of the net. Play like that can really get a team going and, you know, laid himself out there and took him for the team.
Sure.
We'll battle on the face-off here. Hepner with a great ground ball coming out of the box. Good recognition for a young player like that. You know,
great heads-up play.
Goal. Nice take.
You know what? That was an intentional pass.
That was an intentional bounce pass from Hepner. I really believe he saw it, saw the opportunity.
You know, from our angle, I was thinking he was just trying to go bounce shot low on the goalie, and I realized after he's looking at the other attackman that was actually a feed.
Absolutely. You know, Key's there. You know, for a freshman, a lot of time, senior, you see him coming in. He's going to try to get his angle and get his shot. Nope, drew the slide. Nice bouncer.
But to have the confidence to attempt a skip or a bounce pass, really says a lot for his game.
You know, they're trading off goals here right now. Again, seen a little bit cleaner to UMD be able to have a few more possessions, but it's back and forth. Who's gonna grab a hold of this? UMD had a little bit of momentum; they got the edge, but we're pretty much back and forth right now.
Well, we are back and forth. It's really important that obviously with the 2-goal lead that they just sit and maintain it. You can trade goals for goals, but you know they've just got to maintain the possessions, clean it up a bit. And now is the point where Cal Poly's going to have to start.
Oh wow, great
the ball.
ride there by Frank Nesser. Just put the clear on, on his back. Ball came up. Cal Poly's able to do it, but now we got UMD coming back the other way.
Tyler really trying to force the ball.
Yeah, hopefully they can pick it up. I'm sure Sam Whitman right now is screaming to slow that down and set something up and get his horses on the field.
Yeah, right now it's, you know, with this play going back and forth, a little disjointed. I would say this is a good time to slow the game down a bit, get the shot you really want.
UMD, I think, really keeps foot. They got to keep that off-ball movement going, and that's where they benefit. They'll be able to keep Cal Poly's experienced defense from being that aggressive, being on it, and it's credit to all that off-ball movement, and credit to those coaches to do what they're doing. But I do like Cal Poly's picked up that intensity and picked up the physicality, which you know they're going blow for blow right now.
But it's, you know, Duluth has definitely won the man ball and the ground ball game so far. Now you're gonna have to see. You're gonna start to see Cal Poly's D press out. The players on Duluth, especially the young ones, are gonna have to get used to having a little less time to work with that ball.
Yeah, with 9 minutes left, you know, it's still plenty of time.
Well, there's a lot of time.
But at the same time, at Cal Poly, you get how much time's left? How much time's left? You know, it's where are we at? You know.
Well, psychologically, you know, you look on the scoreboard, you're down by 2. You know, I mean, they've been trading off goals for the last 5-6 minutes. At some point, you have to gain some ground.
Yeah. Cal Poly has shown they have that quick strike capability, and they're, you know, they got, especially at the midfield, they're going to be able to capitalize, and we're going to, you know, they should feel confident in their ability to get something going here with, you know, under 9.
Sure. It's a nice feed inside.
Yeah. You know, it's just a good headsy play by the attacker. He knows where he is. He knows he's got to get off quick. Quick release there is better than, you know, placement.
Sure.
Very nice play by Cal Poly.
It's a pretty goal.
Absolutely.
You know how much you can do as a goaltender in that situation. Creeping every bit closer.
Yep.
University of Minnesota Duluth 8, Cal Poly 7. Just over 7.5 to go in the fourth quarter. Nice face-off win.
Dylan Delaney's
pretty
just
content not to push on that unsettled situation.
I was just going to say, Dylan Delaney's done a great job at the X so far.
Yes, he has.
I'm surprised by, I shouldn't say that, but I'm surprised by the dominance there a little bit. You know, been able to come with the ball. He's done a good job, and then especially there showing a headsy play as a sophomore to be able to do that.
Well, and then Capelli hasn't won an outright face-off. And even if he loses the clamp, he's there physically. He's there playing defense. A quick ball moving around the cage.
Ball moment. Ryan Butts push to the corner. There's a Lindbergh. Yeah. We're going to get a push.
Goalie interference here? Or are we getting a push?
We're getting a push call on Cal Poly. Cal Poly's not very happy about that.
No, you know, from our vantage point, it looked like he actually was dying here after the ball. It didn't look like he got pushed.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think he was trying to make a play on the ball, and there's nothing wrong with that.
But Frank, we aren't wearing the stripes. Okay. Beep. I was a little late on that one. Apologize for the language there.
UMD with another man-up situation. Open circle. Got a nice look there. Be able to step. Boston did a nice job stepping the void, catch the pass, about a 10-yard shot out. Just wasn't able to put it on net.
He's going lefty this time. It's a good placement.
Absolutely.
You know, they know by now they're not going to beat him up high.
Yeah, I think
turning that corner and shooting away from your body is important at this point, knowing where you can beat this kid.
Nice GB by Cal Poly, come up with that ball and thwart that man up opportunity by UMD.
Nice
Had
patience.
their looks.
15.
You know, and Cal Poly has plenty of time to play a nice settled brand of ball here.
Yeah,
The
got a
one-goal
one-ball
game.
3, 2, 1, release.
Playing all even lacrosse now.
Which is where Cal Poly has done their most damage.
Nice job by the Cal Poly man down unit there to get that ball on the ground and give it up and get possession. Kill the penalty down in their offensive zone and now get a look. A little bit of forced rush shot. Again, it's only, we got a slash. That's going to,
Well,
not what they wanted.
you know,
It
it's
was an
a
effort
tough
play.
It's a tough play to call.
Yeah.
The ref on the far side was the one who called or threw the flag. From our vantage point, the player was hit in the chest. He was going down. He didn't have possession of the ball, so it's a difficult play to call when he's got his back to you.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see Cal Poly, we got a timeout here. I'm surprised to see, Cal Poly force that shot that quickly. They had some opportunities to settle it down. It's a one-goal game. So 5:49 left in the fourth quarter. We're at 8-7 UMD. Flag down on Cal Poly. I'm still waiting for the final call here to understand exactly what the call was and how much time in the penalty. But we will see UMD's man unit coming up.
I'm curious to see if the player not having possession of the ball comes into this call.
Penalty is green. 1, 2, illegal body check. 1 minute.
So we're going to lead ball check. We'll get a 1-minute call. UMD can take this to 4.5 minutes on this if they use the clock a little bit.
So they did just notice the flailing body is what got him.
Yeah, it was a nice effort play by Cal Poly. Again, we're not wearing the stripes here, but tight game, effort play. Kind of want to see the guys, let them play a little bit, let them get a little fit. We've seen physical play, so let them just stay physical.
I think the
play.
refs have actually done a great job with this game.
Absolutely. But you just hope down the stretch here, a tight game like this, they let them play.
They have so far. There's no reason with the game coming down to crunch time to start pulling their flags out more often than not.
30.
Here, the 32nd
Nice
call.
look down low, Ryan Butts, goal.
Great finish inside.
Yeah, they good movement up top. They sucked that defense up a little. They passed down to Ryan Butts on the left wing, and then just a little dip underneath, and he finished it low.
He's not a big kid in stature, so he's kind of hard to find on the backside.
So we're at a 9-7 score right now. That was that could be the goal.
Yeah.
It's a big possession. Let's see if Cal Poly can get this, and really plenty of time left. Let's see, they should really just get that and have time. But again, Dylan, we got pushed with possession of flag. That's, not what you want to see. Dylan.
That's just something that you have to be able to pull off. You have to be able to just know that the player's back is facing you, and you've got to be able to pull off.
Absolutely, it's Dylan Delaney's just a good face-off. There's a good call by the officials. I know, it's a close game. You can't give those up.
You get beat on the face-off. It's you've got to do your best to get back into the play.
3 penalties. 3, push. 30. Game time, please. 4:47.
So we got 4:47 left. We got a UMD man upcoming.
It's safe to say that this is the biggest man up so far.
Yeah, this could really, again, plenty of time. It's a great thing about lacrosse. You can fill the net up pretty quickly. But, to go up 3 would be I believe the largest
Well,
lead of the game so far.
Yeah, you can fill the net up quickly in this sport, but the way these two teams play and the way they've shown us how they play this game, I don't foresee that happening. I don't see these teams scoring 3 goals in a matter of a minute or anything.
They're playing an aggressive man down. Let's see if they can see it. Ryan Butsy. Just missed on the high.
He changed his plane there.
Yeah,
But
it was a
any
good shot.
goalie-
Just shot for the far pipe and missed.
Yeah.
That's okay.
He kept the stick head low.
So we're going all even. Great job by Cal Poly to
Another nice save.
stop that man. They've done fantastic. A lot of man-up opportunities by UMD, and
It's a good aggressive play there by the Cal Poly D.
yeah. Look to see Cal Poly start to pick up the pace a little and try to attack from that midfield units quicker. So we're at 3:30 left in the game. Cal Poly possession. Really keeping the ball up high. They're going to attack the defensive middies again, trying to generate it.
That's good, Midi D.
Great midi D. Defense doesn't have to slide. They're able to look it off. Did a good job of patience. It's, especially come down the lane, that's hard as a defenseman to not want to go. But good communication.
Yeah.
Good midi D.
Duluth just not giving up that shot.
It wasn't a bad look by Cal Poly in this situation, trying to hit that backside. Just unfortunately didn't connect there.
We got a timeout call by Cal Poly. 3 minutes to play.
3 minutes left to play.
Minnesota Duluth 9, Cal Poly 7.
It's the fourth quarter here. Don't forget, tomorrow, join Lax TV again. You'll be able to get the matchup. Poly will enter the field again against Arizona State University. And then on Sunday, we'll have the UMD Bulldogs back here against Arizona State. So a nice full weekend that Lax TV is putting together for us here. We're in Vadnais Heights, Minnesota.
Yep.
Some top 25 MCLA action. Glad everybody can join us. We got a great crowd here. Hopefully everybody at home is enjoying the game. The crew here is working in some interesting environment, but they got things together. So
We want to give a thanks to Panchito Ojeda and Lax TV. Putting on a great show and doing great things for the sport of lacrosse at the MCLA and Division I level, Division III. Really doing a good job of spreading the sport and giving the audience and the people who love this sport a great way to see the game played. And also thanks to Ryan Hurley for stopping out tonight from Epic Lacrosse.
Poly driving, looking on the backside. Great defensive play, be able to pick that off. I think that was the look they were looking for.
Right out of a timeout. That's the look
Absolutely.
they're going for.
You got UMD. See if they push it here in this unsettled situation. They're able to find that odd man.
Frankly, I would pull it out, get that clock down to 2. No real need to go to the cage and force a turnover or allow a save that causes a quick outlet.
Excuse me. See if Cal Poly really starts to push here, try to double the ball.
They're
see what
going
they
to
can
have
come up
to.
with.
Yeah.
Played a lot of defense though. You got to have the legs to do that.
That's the thing. With UMD spreading out the field in the second quarter, third quarter, I think that's really what has caused them to lose their legs late in the game here. Yeah, no need to go to the cage. No. It's a good way to draw penalties too.
It's not a bad take. You got to take that shot when you're coming around. The defense is going to be aggressive.
That possession's actually going to Cal Poly.
Cal Poly, great hustle.
It is good hustle. In a team in this situation, you're up 2 goals. You never want to get beat to the end line.
Looked like Poly might have had a little situation they could have pushed, but a little trouble clearing the ball. But kept possession, so
A little confused here on the with the defenseman cross it over. Yerdikoff, 2 goals on the night already.
yeah, he had the crease wide open there for a little bit too, but Shane Thomas kept him busy with some solid D-mitting. Didn't have the opportunity to look it up and find that guy.
Yeah, he's had a hard time. Right on the door. That's
Found
a
him
great
on the
feed.
backside, yeah. He's got great vision. He's really good. I mean, he's top of the field around the alleys. He's been really good behind and able to hit those passes as we just saw.
Yeah, I give that. That was all on Erdikoff, which makes this game rather interesting.
Back to a 1-goal game.
Duluth 9, Cal Poly 8. 1 minute left in this one. I told you it'd come down to the last minute, Frank.
Yes, you did.
And I'm not a betting man. Huge face-off.
Face-off, you know, UMD's able to win the face-off, but Cal Poly really scrapped for it and created a GB situation, 50-50, and they're going to come up with a 50-50 here, and that's, you know, that's what they need. A little
Close to an
confusion in the
offsides
box
call
and the
there.
substitution, you know.
UMD still has a timeout in their back pocket, as does Cal Poly.
We got a timeout with 45 seconds left in the game. For everybody out there joining us, we're in for a treat. Quite a game here, down to the wire.
You know, you don't like to always say it's such a huge game this early in the season, but I'll tell you right now that Duluth would absolutely love to come out on top in this one.
Absolutely, you know, especially, you know, last season in the field with Cal Poly, you know, there's something there.
Exactly. I think, you know, Cal Poly feels the same. Neither of these teams wants to lose. They've traveled from California to Minnesota to win games. They didn't come here to lose.
Yeah.
And Duluth didn't invite them here to roll over them. So,
yeah, no, Mark, I did a lot of respect for both teams, and that's kind of what you want. There's good respect for both programs and high competitive level, and that's what we're looking for. You know, the thing that's missing us is, you know, UMLC lost its automatic qualifier. So, you know, this is a big game. UMD, these out-of-conference competition has a little more of an element. These are playoff games.
oh, yeah. Well, 18 versus 15 here. Very important game. You can hear the crowd getting loud. Both benches cheering on their teammates. These last 45 seconds here in Bettis Heights.
Here we go. 45 seconds left, 1-goal game. Cal Poly with the ball. They're going to take that midfield. They're going to try to take behind GLE and work that midfield matchup again.
Yeah, they're going to a stack and they invert. So watch the cutters.
There's a
That's
nice
good D.
slide
That's
situation
great
with the ball in the 30 seconds left. Ball's on the ground. We got a flag down situation, and the Cal Poly just put in the back of the net. Great play by Cal Poly, and the flag is a great opportunity.
What do we got?
Unbelievable.
What a game.
And guess who's in the middle of that again? Number 7, Mr. Yerdikoff.
Yeah, he's no matter which way this game goes, that's absolutely the MVP of this game.
Definitely.
He's put Cal Poly on his back and carried them.
How much time? 22?
22 seconds remain in this one here tonight. Tie ball game, 9-9. Cal Poly and the Duluth Bulldogs. Important face-off here, to say the least. And it's coming
Face
up
off by
with Duluth.
Dylan. Just good job.
Remember, Duluth
man
has
down.
a timeout to take.
Stan Drakowski Sr. really driving to the goal.
Timeout.
Timeout, Sam Blitman. Good call.
10 seconds and then 7.
We got 7 seconds left on the clock. UMD possession. Look for a set play here. You know, keep in mind, you know, Cal Poly's goal, he's been playing huge. So
Let me ask you, Frank, if you were still head coach here at Duluth, as you were last year, 7 seconds left, what are you going to do in this situation with the ball starting to top top right of the box.
You know, you got that senior leadership up in the midfielders. You got to give those guys the opportunity to play there. You know, those guys are going to have a set couple opportunities, couple plays. Hopefully, they, you know, what they've done is they've, you know, read the game and see where that situation is. 7 seconds, long time.
It is a long time, but you know, you also have to figure you're taking 2 seconds to release your hands, get set, take that shot. You know, in this situation, I would almost be apt to put 3 players right on the crease and create as much commotion right in front of the keeper as possible. He's been able to make every save.
You see, they put the ball in Justin Vossen's hand, the top corner, and actually interesting out of Eastview High School. And then you got Hepner at the bottom as his adjacent relief there, also out of Eastview High School.
Yeah.
So
well, look for Hepner to follow in here, almost sag off, and to actually get the shot.
yeah, you just dropped the handle on it. Not what he wanted.
We actually got a fast break here.
Yeah, we're not going to have enough time. That's going to be the half.
As the
And
horn
go
blows,
figure, we got a Cal Poly UMD going in overtime.
So for the second consecutive year, stage is a little bit different, but we are going to overtime.
Absolutely.
Cal Poly 9, University of Minnesota Duluth 9. Great game thus far. Well played, well coached, well officiated. Even the fans have done a great job.
Yeah, it's been a great positive crowd. I mean, you know, fans are loving it. You know, obviously we got a Minnesota heavy crowd. There's a lot of Cardinal and Gray out there, but it's good lacrosse. You wouldn't really want to take a look at this and see the game and where the difference is. You know, UMD's really been able to handle that face-off. They get this clean and get a shot. You got to expect, based on what we've seen, probability is that they may come up with this ball. So, do they play it aggressive? Did they play it straight up? You know what? You got to wonder what that approach is.
Well, it's unfortunate that, you know, even with each face-off, pardon me, with every face-off that the Bulldogs have won, you know, it hasn't necessarily yielded results.
Good energy coming out of the UMD bench here. Face off, I'm sure we'll see the same from Cal Poly. Both these teams, got to hand it to both teams, both staffs. Great game, competitive, back and forth. Both coaches making some nice calls, some very timely timeouts, things like that, to put their team in a good position to win. You know, UMD, we've seen a good mix, so it's who's gonna see the ball, who's gonna be that guy. You look at a Cal Poly. You know, where are you going with the ball, Ben?
Well, I think we're looking at number 7 here. Yurikov, he's basically been the Cal Poly offense.
Excuse me? That's right. We're not in a face-off. Excuse me.
No,
We're
Cal Poly
in a
started
penalty
with the ball.
situation, starting with the ball. So that's
If we
we're
have
in
to
a,
remind anybody in our viewing area that lacrosse, you know, is a sudden death situation. Cal Poly going to press for the wing. Don't be surprised if you get a quick shot here from the wing. They're looking to end this thing.
With a turnover ball going over, see who comes up with it. We got an offsides with Cal Poly, so should be UMD's possession whether they can pick it up or not. No, they call it.
You get a play on situation.
Yeah,
with
thought we had
offsides.
Thought we had an offsides, but apparently it was a
Yeah.
play on.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That ball must have stung a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think that there was where he's trying to put the ball.
15 yards wide.
See
The
UMD
midsection
now.
of his player.
Nice job being able to get out of that situation. Great pickup by Hepner.
Great ground ball.
Great ground ball. Let's see if he can settle it down and see what's going on. See what this Cal Poly. You know, again, Cal Poly's goalie's been phenomenal in these situations this year and in the past. We're going to see what we can do. Good timeout by UMD. They're going to set something up here. We're going to see us go. That was, you know, that play between the boxes, Ben, is so important in games like this. You know, we talked about the clearing game, but the ability to come up and pick up that ground ball and really
shrink the field on your clears and have attackmen that can work hard for you like that, that's, it's such an asset.
Well, and especially with the freshmen. Hepner's a freshman. Here we are in overtime, his first true test as a collegiate player, and here he is getting the ground ball in overtime that causes it causes the timeout here. And let's see where they take it. And also, I got to hand it to Sam Lippman, his first year as a head coach here at UMD, putting the players that deserve to be on the field in the position to succeed. Going with the freshmen.
I'm a fan, so I have to agree.
Yeah.
He's done a good job. He's great. Sam's been with that program for, well, I coached him for 2 years, and he's been a huge asset for that program as the guy up there and coaching. And he's been here before. He understands it. That whole staff now is a whole UMD staff. They've all been there, and I think they've done a job. And inversely, on the other side, I think Mark Leach does a fantastic job. He's gotten his guys in positions. He knows who his guy is. He's put the ball in his stick. So
both of these, all these players want to play for their head coaches. They want to succeed.
Yeah, it's very apparent. So
here we are, UMD pressing the issue on the left side of the cage. They still have room to fire here.
Yeah, that little cushion from I'm a little bore out on that. But
I'm surprised that they have as much leeway as they do to let that thing fly. Right here.
Their goalie's been fantastic. Big save. Oh!
And a huge save.
Wow. Well,
that is a game-changing goalie.
Yeah.
Duluth doing a great job of causing havoc.
Ground ball.
Oh, this has got.
Somebody's got to pick this ball. This has got to be killing the coaches.
This has gotten really ugly, but a lot of fun
UMD
to
ball
watch.
off Cal Poly. Here we go. That was just impressive.
Quick start.
And his quick starts are great.
Yeah.
But the players still adjusting. You kind of forget a little bit.
Yeah,
sometimes.
you got to. If you know that whistle goes, you can go.
UMD setting up in a
Here's
little
the
play.
alley. Here's the alley again.
Good patience. I feel like they're only taking care of that ball just a little softer, though. You're not seeing that on the line. It's
well, you're also a little nervous. I mean, everybody wants to score that game winner.
Absolutely. They're getting their looks at the cage. It's a good midi defense. Push them off.
It is.
You got to get Voss and shooting going away from the cage. It's going to be tough to hit.
As a player, it's like you always want to score the game winner, and you also don't want to be the player that drops the ball or gives up the game winner. So it'll be interesting to see who steps up here. Mr. Hepner on the backside here.
Yeah, they got to move it. I think there's some open stuff. They're standing. It's a little bit of watching going on right now on that offense that was moving around a lot, making things happen.
Well, and now if you've noticed that Cal Poly's actually pressed out, similar to what Duluth has been doing.
And then we got a little invert from UMD.
Great look. Good split. Well, hustle play. That's coming up Cal Poly.
Yeah, that's an unforced turnover. I think you would have liked to see pull the trigger on that one and coming across. But
Cal Poly just displaying some reserved excitement on the bench there. You could tell it was a sigh of relief. And conversely, upsetting on the Duluth bench.
Yeah, again, that goalie play was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hats off to both these teams at this point, regardless of which way it goes. This is
timeout going
Mark's
to Cal Poly.
Take his shot at this, as expected. Huge goaltending down on that side, and that defense was able to collapse on that and send it the other way.
It's a lot of fun to see two goaltenders playing as well as these two have. Actually, these three. This game's at it all. Quick play, patience, good goaltending, good shooting, some great feeds.
Yeah, that last series of saves down there that's just athleticism, and he was just throwing his body around to make things happen.
And he also had help by his defenders too.
Yeah,
which is nice. You can see that they would do anything for their goalie. early in the season, these teams have to both be a little beat, a little tired.
Yeah, they're gonna. When thinking about these, MCLA schedules in this weekend, Cal Poly's playing, and this is the last thing. Now they, regardless of what happens, they turn around in 24 hours, and they're going to play a ASU team that's had a little rest and ready to go.
Well, not to mention extremely talented.
Absolutely.
ASU is no joke.
That'll be a great game tomorrow to watch as well. But obviously as a coach, you're not thinking about that right now. But when you're looking at this weekend on the planning and scheduling, that's something that you think about that possibility.
Yeah, they're not thinking ahead at all. They're thinking about this overtime game. But with Duluth having the added day off and then coming back and hitting it on Sunday.
Yeah, you got Cal Poly as a Jack coined, phrase. The double down, they're double dipping back to back. It's that's a risk.
Yeah,
but it's a necessity in this league.
Oh sure. Looking to isolate behind here, doing the same stack up top. Watch our Erdikoff to come off this pick.
Again, really, sticking with the game plan and nice
great save by Blazer. Great save by Blazer.
We are going to a second overtime with Cal Poly.
And he's feeling
it here.
Blazer turned and looked at his bench and let him know.
Yeah, that's so do you switch goalies now? I mean, you did it the first half, right?
True. Switch them during overtimes?
Yeah, I think we stay with this one a little bit, right?
Yeah. Boy, that's not fair. If you're talking about playing time, he's getting the whole second half plus 2 overtimes.
Yeah, I don't think Jared's going to complain about his, shared time and.
No. You had mentioned that both these teams, it's too bad that either of them have to lose, but both these teams deserve a lot of credit for the way they've been able to play this early in the season. February 22nd, usually you don't see the caliber of ball that we're seeing tonight.
No, this has been a real treat, and again, thanks for Lax TV and the sponsors and Epic Lacrosse who was part of that, and the whole crew here. It's no easy feat putting these on, and when we get a game like this, we're really to be thankful. We have our video director Pete Wagoner and graphics replay. IT happening over here, and it's just and Panchito for making these things happen. It's really a game like this. How often a couple years ago this happens, and you just hear about it.
Well, and it's also just nice to see the amount of the amount of sponsorship and the amount of attention that this sport is starting to garner. It's kind of nice.
Absolutely. Well, here we go. We're ready. We're set. Let's see if Dylan can continue that. Cal Poly has gone to a long.
They're going with a pull in the face off.
Yeah, pulling the face off, and he still comes up with the ball. Yeah. Man, that's been the difference. The first overtime, they were able to turn it into a 50-50 and get that. But here's another possession. These are priceless right now.
Based on the number of possessions Duluth has had, I think I have to give my MVP. It's got to go to the face-off, X.
Timeout, UMD, Sam Lippman. Let's see what happens. Checkmate, maybe. We'll see. I don't know.
Well, it's you're also trying to lull this defense to sleep here. Calling 2 timeouts, the end of the overtime. You might tense up, get a little cramps.
Again, looking at the this same situation in the first overtime. UMT was playing okay, but a little extra care of that ball, which means it was slowing down. It wasn't zipping. We saw a little bit of watching the ball carrier. That's not how they got here. Hopefully they can get back to that. They get its tense and all that, and they still got those great looks.
Well, I mentioned earlier they did. The majority of they're known for having a lot of assisted goals, and seeing them share the ball, it's better looking lacrosse. It's fun to watch, and it's a lot more fun to be a part of. So, we didn't come here to watch, ISO ball.
No.
And so far that hasn't been the case. We've seen a lot of great goals, a lot of good teamwork, a lot of good ball movement, and I'd like to see the game end on that note.
And the amount of freshmen on the field, both teams, young players, this has been great.
Well, that speaks to just the amount of athletes this sport has and coming up through the ranks. They're coming looking for that skip pass, and it gets through. The ball gets through. It was there. He had him on the backside.
It's a great look. Just A little distraction and missed the pass.
That was exactly what they drew up.
We got a scramble situation here, and defense able to get in. You know,
we're a little confused here.
Advantage.
Trying to call each other off. Sub to the midfield. Now I know Cal Poly would love to end this game, but they also need to have a possession. It's important to get everybody a touch here. Good D.
It's gotten a little.
Watch Yurtikoff coming off the pick here, number 7. He's being shadowed pretty tightly. I don't think they're going to let number 7 get alone.
Nice check.
Great D.
Good ball.
Now you have a push here. Good call.
That quick whistle. Especially in a situation they got players down, they can get interesting. Back, yeah.
Turnover here on Cal Poly.
That action a little bit and that. We're going the other way.
Cal Poly's put in 2 or 3 goals here right on the doorstep, so I believe that's what they were actually looking for.
Yeah, he was there. Both sides got their look. Yeah. Whoever connects here, I mean, obviously whoever connects here is going to hit it, but the looks are there. It's not like they're not forcing it right now.
I can tell you we've had 1 shot on goal in the past 6 minutes. So, you know, for some reason we're a little more tentative.
Right.
Some good defense here by Duluth.
Yeah, got to make sure they don't get stuck out too far. And we got a timeout by Mark. Here we go.
Back and forth. 1:58 left here in the second overtime period. Duluth 9, Cal Poly 9.
You know, at this point, fatigue is obvious. I mean, looking at these both benches, there's some fatigue here.
I'm exhausted.
I would agree with that. It's this point, you're counting on your fall ball and your off-season conditioning that hopefully has been there, and
well, that speaks about these programs. These kids are definitely, hitting the ground in shape. Like I said, it's February 22nd. They just came off, holiday break, coming back to school, and they stuck to their off-season regimen, and they're ready to go.
It is interesting. Be interesting to see if UMD had Matt Murphy out there, suffered an injury in some UMLC play. I talked to him earlier, and being a big part of last year's game, I'm sure he wished he was on the field right now. But I got to hand it to some of these freshmen. I mean, there's no let off.
No, they've stepped in and they've been up to the challenge. We did have an injury earlier. Number 36 for Cal Poly, Rory Wynell, has not returned to the game. Apparent shoulder and arm injury. We wish him the best. It was actually on the goal they scored, on their 8th goal.
Yeah, and that was a big goal. That's why we're here right now.
Yes. He's got room. He lets his hands go.
Top side a little bit.
That's
huge hustle by Blazer to get that. There's a couple of UMD jerseys back there from our perspective. I believe it was Blazer. But either way, possession going the other way.
Well, it speaks to a goalie having his head in the game. Not just making a save, but being able to turn like that. And
here we go. We got a little press. See what Boston decides to take his foot off the pedal a little bit there and let everybody get a touch and see what's going on.
I'm still calling the skip pass. I think they're still going to look for that. 1 minute left in the second overtime period. Looking to isolate.
Again, putting it in the hands of senior captain to start things off with Stan Drachowski. Looks good.
We're going back to teeter-totter.
Yeah, we got a double on the ball. There's somebody open on that back side. Cal Poly gets back in and settled up nicely.
They're going to push this to the right side and look for the skip pass.
You're going to get a sweep here to the right. Yep. Down the lane. Here comes a shot. Goal by the freshman Lindbergh, and UMD pulls it off in overtime.
Duluth wins it. And what a great win for this University of Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs program.
Absolutely. Again, hats off to both programs.
Cal Poly goes right to their goaltender. Nothing but class. He played a great game. Everybody in green played a great game. Everybody in white played a great game.
Yeah, great. Again, last time they played double overtime. This time it's fantastic. Fantastic competition. I think our hats off to the officials in a tight game like this. That's not an easy situation. I think they handled it well. They let them play, and the outcome take care of itself. Both coaches, a chess match, back and forth.
Yeah.
Coaches put them in a great situation. Both goalies coming up with huge plays. So it was a pleasure to be a part of this game and watch. And again, thank you to all the sponsors and Lax TV and the program. And we hope to see you guys